right, I'm Ricardo Flores,
And I'm Alec Flores.
and we're talking about unraveling the millennial mind. Did we say unraveling last time?
I think we did.
All right. If we said a different word, let's just cut and paste and substitute. All right.
All right.
So, I've heard from a lot of people that you guys just have no sense of humor, that you're killing the sense of humor. All right?
We're killing your sense of humor.
All right. This interview is over. We're done. This was a 45 seconds interview. And
45 minutes.
Seconds, yeah. And we resolved this issue. All right.
All right, we're done.
All right, we're done. No, there's something that I want you to tell me, because you explained this to me in a way that I hadn't seen it before. I haven't heard it before, and I thought it was brilliant. You were talking to me just a couple of days ago, I think it was, about a joke that you saw on the internet. It had two young gay men. Okay, they were kissing, and someone was saying, I don't want my 7-year-old to see this because I don't want him to grow up thinking that it's normal to be ginger.
Right.
Or something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
And, I see the joke and say, it's very common, it's expected, it's not that funny. But you really didn't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Tell me about it.
All right. Well, before I tell you about it, I want to say that the screenshot was a still image from an animation called In a Heartbeat. It's made by LGBT people, for LGBT people, and actually it was made by a team of 2 people who haven't even graduated college yet. They started this in their senior year of their animation college routine. Mm-hmm. These aren't professionals. These are people who are learning the trade and haven't even broken into the industry yet.
Okay. And how do you know about
it? Because I've been hearing about them for months and months before the thing even came out.
Okay.
We're super excited about them. We're super impressed by them.
You're super excited, super impressed before their animation came out.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and the animation is stellar. I suggest that you go and watch it if you're interested.
Where?
It's for free on YouTube.
Okay.
In a Heartbeat.
All right, cool. Why? How were you impressed before you knew their product?
One, because it was such a big goal for them. It's just a 2-person team, and they wanted to make a full short movie about a closeted boy who is in love with another boy in his school, and how his heart is reacting to it.
Okay.
Right? It's childish, it's playful, it does deal with a little bit of seriousness, but in a child-friendly way, and it's remarkable in that we don't see a lot of that. We need a lot more representation that is available for children to be able to see and enjoy, so that they may discover themselves in a safe way. Mm-hmm. Because LGBT plus community is not inherently a sexual topic.
Right.
It's one of identity. It's one of learning oneself. And learning who you are earlier would save a lot of grief for a lot of young people.
Learning who you are, but also finding your place in the society, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't make a place for us in the past. That had not created a niche for us. It has to be created.
Right, and animation is such a lengthy and tedious process. Usually there are small teams consisting of like 10 or more people working on something that is that length. This is just 2 people who are doing the entire animation. Now, I don't know about sound and composition, but the actual visuals, animation, pacing, everything is done by these 2 individuals. And we first heard about them through a Kickstarter to have fun so that they can spend their time to working on this goal. It took them, I'm not quite sure, but I'm gonna guess over a year, because I believe that they are graduated now. They started when they were seniors at their college. I would love to say who these 2 people are, but I don't remember it off the top of my head.
That's okay.
And you will definitely see it in the credits if you go and watch the video.
Okay.
Right? Now.
And by the way, in parentheses,
I
have to say to the audience that all these conversations we're going to be having are unrehearsed. So I'm never telling you what topic we're going to cover, so that you don't go and do the research and then come back.
Right.
I want to get your mind raw.
Yeah, this is all just on the fly.
Yes. Right. And I even don't know. I don't think ahead of time what topic we're going to use or what we're going to talk about.
You just blurt it out in the moment.
Yes. Because I want to be spontaneous with my questions, and I want you to be spontaneous and real with your answers.
Yeah.
All right. So these 2 guys created this animation, and it's amazing. And say the name again, just so that they can look it up.
In a Heartbeat. You can find it for free on YouTube.
All right. And again, like,
and it's for free. Period.
Right.
It's not that you could buy it somewhere and I'm telling you where to steal it from them.
Yes.
No.
And also, it's good to say at this point, and we'll say it in other broadcasts too, we don't promote anything or anyone that has paid us to do so. We don't take money from anyone.
This is of our free will.
Yes.
We're not paid to say that In a Heartbeat is really good, or anything like that. I just genuinely really love what they're doing.
Promote whatever we like and trash whatever we like. And if we ever disagree on something, I'll say that is shit, and you'll say that is amazing, or the other way around, and we'll leave it at that.
Right.
But we're not going to take any money from anybody that wants us to plug in a product. All right, so go on.
Okay,
but the caption, the joke was not written by them, right? It was somebody else.
No, it was by a commenter on YouTube.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, my initial reaction was that of fear. Because it's not until the very last words that you realize they are making a quote-unquote joke. And everything before that sounds negative, homophobic, everything that we had to deal with for such a long time. It's the equivalent of someone pretending to strike a physical assault victim and then laughing when they flinch.
So I raise my hand as if I'm going to hit a victim of being battered, a battered woman, for example, or
Right.
an abused child. Raise my hand, and then they flinch, and I laugh or make a different gesture that would
Right.
make it seem, no, I was just joking.
Right. It's a very mean and backwards way of saying that you're with us. Because really you're just exposing and poking at the wounds that we have. Plus,
Someone was intending to say, I'm not homophobic, and to prove it, I've switched the expectation to a racial joke instead.
right, there's nothing wrong with being ginger, please. If you are ginger, I applaud you. If you want to dye your hair red, go ahead. Nothing wrong with gingers. They have the most beautiful souls that nobody can comprehend. And that's why we say that they don't have any soul.
And,
It's because
and
we
more,
cannot comprehend how
the soul of the
amazing your
ginger.
soul is.
It's not that they have no soul. It's that the soul is distributed into 1 billion different freckles. It's beautiful.
Oh, freckles are beautiful. I
Yeah.
love freckles. Right. The thing is that it's not positive in any way.
It's read as aggressive because the first gesture is aggressive.
Absolutely. It's terrifying. It can trigger really unpleasant memories if you have had a history of people leaving you or abandoning you for this, or even worse. It's a microaggression, and it's very common for quote unquote allies to do this, and they're not realizing what the harm is in it, which really sucks. You know, we don't like that kind of joke.
When you say that, I can see the emotional impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even though you haven't been a victim of physical abuse
Right.
like that, is that because your friends, your hive mind is very conscious of that? I mean, they have experienced this. Many people have experienced this.
Yes, some have experienced it. Me, myself, have friends who are in very bad situations
At this moment.
at this moment, and for a very long time. It's hard to get out of things. And also, even if you don't have anyone that you personally know that are suffering from some kind of abuse or alienation, we definitely know about it, and we want to learn how to deal with that kind of thing in a sensitive way that doesn't agitate that and actually helps.
Do you tend to feel their suffering as if you are witnessing it?
Yes.
Is that something common to your friends as well? To the people you know, the people you hear about?
Yes, it's very common for my personal friends and I to make it sound like our situation is not that bad, but take absolutely 100% seriousness to someone else's situation. We are compassionate, we are kind, we try our best to support each other, and in return they do it to us. And we view other people's problems as greater than our own, which is a double-edged blade.
Can you give me an example of that?
Yes. I have a friend who has an alcoholic mother, no father to speak of because they have divorced and broken up, and the father in question is also abusive, right? But he's out of the picture, thank goodness. They are struggling with severe poverty. They have been kicked out of their homes multiple times, and right now they are jumping between different houses. And the most recent house that they had just left was with a friend of the mother's who was denying my friend food. My friend was living off of salt crackers, right? They have since left that situation by some miracle. And right now they are in the home of the mom's boyfriend, current boyfriend. And things are looking up, but they're still struggling with a lot of monetary problems. My friend, it would not be a stretch of the imagination to say that she is suffering from severe PTSD. She does have depression. She does have anxieties. And because it is so hard for them to afford even basic necessities, she has no way to access therapy or medication that could help lessen the severity of these things. And I, on the other hand, do suffer from depression and anxiety. It's true. But I do have therapy. I do have medication. I live in a wonderful home with 2 loving and supportive parents.
An amazing dad. Awesome.
Yes. And I consider myself very lucky. But for some strange reason, my friend who has suffered through all of these things say that they would have killed themselves if they were in my situation.
After the brain thing that happened?
Yes.
Okay.
And she considers her situation not as bad as mine. And I disagree. I think the other way around. And this is exactly what kind of level of compassion that we have for each other.
And when you say us, okay, I want to set up a scenario here because the us to me is interesting in this case. What the meaning of that word is. There is an old saying from that came out of World War II.
Okay.
Where you have someone saying, when they speaking of the Nazis, right? When they came for the Jews, it didn't affect me. I didn't do anything. When then they came for the gays, I was okay. It didn't affect me. They came for the Jehovah Witnesses, and I thought, well, it's too bad. They're good people, but it wasn't affecting me. And so the list goes on until the speaker says, when they came for me, there was no one around that could help.
Right.
And the notion there is the message there used to be when such evil spreads in the world, when such evil tries to dominate the world, it is really to our disadvantage to think of ourselves as separate, to think that, okay, so, we are going to take care of our tribe, but our tribe in that sense was divided by religion or race, things like that. When you say us, you don't mean a race, you don't mean a religion, you don't mean a nationality, or do you?
No, I mean in how our generation works, but our generation also wants to protect the younger generation, and the older generation who are willing to let us take the reins. And that's few and far between, but we do deeply care about pretty much everyone.
And everything. The endangered species and all sentient creatures, as it were.
Right. In fact, there's a resurgence of neo-Nazism right now.
Yeah.
Recently, there's been...
And to be honest with you, I don't see anything neo about it. They are
Right.
They are just the same thugs that think that they are superior.
Absolutely.
Yes.
White nationalism and things like that. The only difference is that it is here in America as opposed to...
These are not just like right-wing ideologues that people call Nazis only because they're right-wing. They're
right.
Self-denominated Nazis and white supremacists.
Yes.
And they want to kick out
absolutely
the rest of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's been recent events in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
It was devastating news.
I know.
Of course.
I know.
And
even the poor tiki torches, they really didn't do anything. They were meant to be
Jesus
patio
Christ.
furniture.
Look, 0 torches is good for most situations.
Yes.
1 torch if you're Link and wandering around, right? 2 torches or more, shit's going down.
Yeah.
And we need to stop that.
We do, and the two things about that. One is that element of, yeah, they came for them, but I was not affected. They came for them, I was not affected. That's not happening now.
I was not affected.
We are affected by others suffering through it.
Right. I am not affected. I don't live in Charlottesville. I was not in that situation.
You're not affected directly and physically, but
right.
But you are affected.
I'm devastated by what happened, and recently people in my generation have been destroying quote unquote monuments of statues that stand for things that we disagree, things that that seem to glorify genocide and things like that. There's been news about people tearing down certain statues in certain areas.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the news wants to paint it as we are erasing history. We are not. Mm-hmm. That history remains there. We are not editing the textbooks. We are not censoring anything. What we are doing is that we are taking down
the symbols.
The symbols. We are taking down the pride that people have in these horrible things.
These murders.
Right, and
I have a friend from college. She's a philosopher. She's a direct descendant of slave owners.
Right.
One of the statues that came down from New Orleans was her relative, right?
Okay.
Direct relative, and she wrote a message on Facebook explaining this.
I saw this message on the internet,
and she said, "Yeah, she's my dear friend from philosophy graduate school," and she said,
"So you personally know this person?"
"Oh, yeah,
because
I studied with her." Yeah.
Okay, because I saw on the internet this exact thing that you're talking about, and I had no idea that you personally know
Oh,
her.
I know her personally.
So you could shine light on this.
She's a nice, very nice person.
I don't doubt it with what I read.
Can't take the sun. Gets too burnt out. You know, her skin cannot take the sun. Like, I'm gonna say that about her. She's an amazing.
That's okay. She
heart.
can't control that.
She's an amazing heart, and you know, her first name is Ken. I call her Kenita all the time because I like her so much. Kenita. And she said in this message that her family was so interested in their family's history that they wrote books about their history. So they're into the history of their family, right? Mm-hmm. And then she says, but taking down those symbols, it's not against history.
Right.
The people that my ancestors killed, the African slaves that they murdered for their own gain, that was a crime. That was a massive crime, a genocide. And
right, and we should not be celebrating that in monuments.
That's from a direct descendant saying, no, let's not celebrate this.
Right.
And then she said, the anonymous slaves, their history is the one that has been erased. Because we don't know about them.
Exactly.
We don't know about where they came from, what they did.
They've been systematically erased, and nobody cares from anyone above, anyone older than us.
Yeah. And to celebrate the oppressor is not to respect history. It is to really keep destroying the history of the voiceless.
There's a saying that comes to mind. It was, history is written by the victor. And I think that is a very, very problematic thing. We need to have history from all sides. We need to have every voice heard.
In the image of Monsignor Romero, your generation, and actually my generation, and all generations that are witnessing this new millennium, have to become the voice of the voiceless.
I like that.
Because that's the only way we can survive.
I like that.
So this is a good time to wrap this up. But this was about humor, and you killed it.
We didn't even talk about humor.
So I'm going to revive it.
Okay.
All right. There was a Nazi soldier, right? Mm-hmm. Who had during martial art, where martial law, where all the citizens had to be inside their houses at 7 p.m.
Oh, gee.
In France. Okay, this was in France. During Nazi occupation in Germany, and Nazi occupation in France, and the dad of a friend of mine who was a survivor at that time had a very good friend who happened to be going to his home from work, and he thought, I don't know if I'm going to make it. If I take the traditional route, I'm not going to make it on time and I could be killed. So he appealed to the human in all of us. He thought, if I talk to these Nazi soldiers as a human, asking for a small favor, and doing it with love, they will respond with love. Because, after all, I'm sure, as President Trump said, these Nazis are not all evil. There are some good
Jesus
people there.
Christ.
So, with this mentality, this guy went to young man in his early 20s, and he comes to the Nazi soldier, and he said, "Excuse me, officer." He said, "It's past 6. It's gonna be 7 pretty soon, and I don't want to break any laws. And but I lived in that district, and it might take me too long to get there, and I don't want to break the law. You understand? I want to respect your law and respect you, and I want to ask you a favor." "Yes," said the German soldier. "What is it, citizen?" He said, "I'd like to know if there is a different way, if there's a way that I can reach my home before the deadline." And the officer very politely said to him, yes, of course. Just don't take that route that you were gonna take. Just take this alley over here. Do you see it?" "Yes." "Well, just go 5 blocks and then turn left. There's gonna be a ravine. Just follow the ravine, cross it, come up there, and then you're gonna find a small street that goes directly to your district."
Okay.
And the young man said, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. I can't thank you enough. You saved my life." And the Nazi soldier said, "Don't worry about it. Everything will be fine." Obviously, I can't make a German accent to save my life.
Right. That's fine.
Can't even make a Californian accent. Okay. So the young man starts walking away. When he has walked just about 15 paces, the officer pulls up his gun and boom, shoots him with his Luger, boom, in the back.
Oh, jeez.
And he falls dead. And the other officer that was next to him, witnessing this friendly exchange between human beings, the other Nazi officer that was next to him, turns around and said, but in German, the equivalent of, "Dude, what the fuck? Why did you do that?" And the Nazi officer looked at him and said, "He wasn't going to make it on time anyway."
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay.
This is Ricardo Flores, unveiling the millennial mind.
This is Alec Flores.
I will see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
I hope.